So yeah, maybe do something driving in the car. You know, I've got a long journey early in the morning on Thursday, and yeah, it's like I saw these oxeye daisies on the way to Norwich, and it was nice. There were some young trees, and there was some oxeye daisies, and I thought, oh yeah, maybe it's because they've got greens, the greens, and I thought about how like Norfolk has got like a reform leader. You know, what does that mean? Maybe they're just all going to be really crap, and people will realise, and like the calibre of politicians, like it's a race to the bottom, and yeah, all of that. And then I thought back Carol Vorderman, I think, because she's been doing this thing trying to tell women of you know, to think about it, because there's this one who's like said horrible things about women, and yeah, and then I was thinking about Countdown, and I had this ex-boyfriend, and he went on Countdown, and you know, he really wanted me to go, and yeah, I didn't. It was like my student's last day, and it's like, well, I could have, looking back, you know, I could have just moved the day and gone. You know, it was really important to him, and yeah, and then it made me think, yeah, about how I just see the world from my point of view. You know, I can be quite critical, overanalyze everything, like want everything to be just right. I thought, you know, kind of like a bit autism-y really, and yeah, and I thought about my mum as a bit like that too. And anyway, also about how you know, I'm driving in, I'm thinking about the things I think about when things get difficult, thinking about my little strategies of how I kind of turn that thought, because it's not really intrusive thought as such, it's like, or maybe it is, but it feels like it's just a habitual thought that comes up, but it does come up when I'm stressed and then disappears other times. So yeah, maybe it's OCD. And about how I'm kind of so in the moment, like not in the on the mountaintop quiet moment, but if someone asks what I've been doing, it'd be really hard for me to think, because what I'm kind of doing is this feeling of being really present whatever I'm doing, and so I don't feel scattered, I don't feel like pulled in different directions, or like, oh, I've got all these things going on and it's like a big to-do list, or I'm pulled from one direction or another. I feel, oh, I'm doing this, and that I really do that, and then I go really into something else and really do that, and then the previous thing is completely forgotten really, obviously not literally. So yeah, but that's that sweet spot of, you know, when I'm feeling really creative and really happy. And sometimes I've mentioned this before, yeah, life couldn't be better, but you know, my OCD is really bad, and so yeah, I suppose it's something to be aware of, that sweet spot of creativity. And then yeah, Lottie bought me Bernadette Mayer, the book Works and Days, and I've left it in the car because it was like solace and comfort. Well, I had a hard week at work, so I kind of, yeah, ran up to the top of the car park. That's a DBT thing, you know, it's in that program, that Australian thing about the news channel in the 80s. It's a really good explanation of DBT, but yeah, physical exercise, so she runs up and down. So yeah, I ran up to the top of the floor of the car park and laid in the back and read a couple of poems, and then just rushed back to the work meeting. And you know, that's a strategy. And eating always helps. And yeah, so, and then I was after work as well, took a few moments to write a poem, read a poem, and that was really comforting. But in that, she mentions, I think it's the film of a poem that she did called Memories. I could be wrong, but it's something to do with a poem that's written in a day, about a day. And I thought about that when I drove in today, and also thought about, there was this poet at the weekend at the Out There Festival that said, steal from work. And I thought, I mean, you know, I'm far too ethical to do that or work for the NHS, but when I'm driving into work before the day, you know, obviously I still think about necessary things to prepare, but you know, essentially that drive into work is mine, and that's mine when I'm fresh. So it's like, yeah, I could maybe use that, do something creative and talk in the car, and But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, and then you can see how, you know, how do you get from Oxeye Daisies to, God, you know, all the things I've done have no explanation, and, you know, maybe I'm a bit autistic or whatever. Yeah. Or you're really happy, you just done a poem at the Out There Festival, you go through it again to see if you can remember it, just in case you was to be asked to do it at Broken Spoke. I mean, you're not going to actually ask yourself, but if you did get asked, maybe you'd get asked on the night or a few days before, and like, do you still learn it, know it? Yeah, so I just went through the one. I did 3 poems at the Out There Festival. The first 2 I did at the last Broken Spoke, so the third one I just made sure I learned that, because if I did do one, it would be that one. And I've got my painting just to finish off, ready for that. It was going to be for the next one, but yeah, I'll just put it in for this one. It's ready now, so it can be now with the other one. So, yeah, all these things, and my bowl went really well, and it's been literally filled with sunlight and filled with moonlight. Well, it was a bit cloudy, but it's been in front of the window. And yeah, I'm going to make 2 more after that hopefully be kind of even more perfect in terms of how strong they are, and no gaps and smooth and stuff. And yeah, you know, all good things. YouTube videos, writing I haven't really done for a while, but you know, I have many ideas and many notes, so I have a whole document that I can make. So yeah, what am I doing? I've got my writing project to go to whenever I want to. I've got my YouTube channel. I've got paper mache bowls. I've got paintings. So I've got 2 new ones, the base layers done. And Witch Club paintings for Broken Spoke, YouTube channel, writing. And then of course there's Yoshimi, and there's also the cocktail bar, which I seem to be really reticent about organising, and I'm kind of wondering whether I should just buy a theremin and book some rehearsal time, maybe even at the same time as the next Yoshimi, because it's kind of overlapping people. Well, we'll see.